Hi everyone, I'm Deanne from Newfoundland, Canada. Welcome to my FlossTube channel, Stitching on the Rock. We are at episode 75. Welcome to you all. If you're new joining me, and I got to take part in the Across the Pond chat for the first time yesterday, and I know I put my FlossTube channel in the chat with everyone else's. So if you're joining me from there, it was so nice to meet you, and welcome. Anyone who's returning, welcome back. Sorry it's been 3 weeks since my last video. 2 weekends ago, and I have candy in my mouth, I'm sorry, but I have a tickle in my throat, so I thought that was easier than pausing every time I need to take a drink. We'll see. 2 weeks ago, I went to a scrapbooking retreat. First one in about 3 years, but we went to Toronto last summer, and I wanted to create an album for that. So I signed up, and a lot of friends were there, a lot of people I hadn't seen in those 3 years, so that was great. I got, I don't know, 12 double layouts, so about 24 pages done, which is really nice. I didn't bring any of them to show you because this is my cross stitch channel, but if anyone would like to see a couple of them, like I'll pull out a couple of layouts, I will show them in my next video. Just comment below if you want to see them, so I know. And if you're not interested, that's fine. I know it's not your hobby if you're watching a cross stitch channel necessarily. But I woke up in the middle of the night, Saturday night into Sunday, all stuffed up, sore throat, parched, and I was sick for a couple of days, like of the sore throat and cough and that. But then for about 2 weeks, I had that lovely sinus issue, and I didn't want to be on my video last weekend sniffing every 5 minutes. But I still have a little edge that is just lingering. It's not bothering me, but it's annoying. So apologizes if I cough or sniff. I try not to. What's been going on with life other than that? My son, if you're new, he is graduating high school. His graduation is on the 24th of June. He's writing exams right now. So he had one on Friday. He has one tomorrow, one Tuesday, and one Wednesday. And then that's it. He's done with secondary school. And the graduation is on the 24th. And then the last day of school is the 26th. So, wow. So we've been running around getting a few last minute things that we need for that. I still haven't decided what I'm wearing. My sister, who was in Edmonton because of my nephew, and I'll get to that in a minute, flew home on Tuesday to help him study for his math test. She's a retired math teacher. They did some online study, going back and forth before classes ended, and then she came home Tuesday. She's going back on Thursday. His exam is Wednesday. Fingers crossed that he passes his math. He's going to pass. He needs 24 in his exam to pass. I would like him to get 65 at least. So, fingers crossed that he does that. Like in the course, not the exam necessarily, but in the course. So, which means he has to get like 55 or 60, I think, in the exam. My nephew, for those of you who are new, my oldest nephew had a kidney transplant on the 21st or the 22nd of May. I'm not sure which day it was now. I know he had to be there one day and I think it was the 22nd, but anyway, in Edmonton. He's been doing awesome. He's had to stay in Edmonton. They initially told him 2 months. He has an appointment on the 24th of June. If everything is where it's supposed to be, he can go home on the 24th of June, or 25th, whatever. And he has to have blood work done right now 3 times a week, but he can get his blood work done for Fort McMurray if they okay him to go home, which is amazing. That's like just over a month. And his wife and kids are in where they're from in Fort McMurray, because their oldest is in school and she's in dance and she's in a couple other little things. So they wanted to keep life normal for her. And so they went down last weekend. His brother and his family are in Calgary. They came up for the weekend. So yeah, so everything's going really good. All his numbers are going in the right direction. His kidney function was at 9% before he had his transplant. It's at 69% now. So going great. And that's about all that's been happening with life that I can think of. Our local our local little cross stitch group of friends are getting together on the 28th, I think it is, Saturday, at a local library here. So I'll be able to tell you all about that in my next video. So on to WIPs. For those of you who are new, I did this birthday challenge thing where I'm starting 55 projects this year because my birthday last month, I turned 55. So I kind of divide what I show you into pre-2025 WIPs and my new starts for this year. So I have one pre-2025 WIP, and it is going to be right here, and it is River's Edge by Kevin Daniel for Heaven and Earth Design. It's a piece I'm doing for my son. Originally it was going to be graduation. Now I'm kind of hoping for Christmas. It might be a New Year's gift. But I'm stitching it 1/1 on 28 count lichen gray. Since you saw it last weekend was the focus on a finish for WIP Warriors, so I got 1,050 stitches done for that, and then I have added, well, in total I've got 1,628 stitches. So because I've decided if it's going to be finished this year, I really need to focus on it. But then the last 2 or 3 days I haven't done anything on it, so that's it. Anyway, please excuse the hanging thread that I have. Here is where we are for the whole thing. It's a really nice sunny day. I'm going to try to turn my lamp on and see if that will help. There. Oh, that looks better. So what I've been stitching is I've mostly been focused from this duck to this duck, and in this section there's another duck right here. So I've been focusing on that area right now to try and get some filled in. So I'm at 34.92%, so almost 35%. So that is my only pre-2025 start. So next we have what was my New Year's New Start, October 31st by Cottage Garden Samplings. This is the third one I'm doing in this series. I've done First Signs of Spring and Strawberry Harvest. I have this one, and I think Snow Time is the one I picked for the winter piece, to do one for each season in the series. And this is stitched 1/2 and 36 count Winter Moon that I then re-dyed to make it look more like the ancient that they were stitched on, that I had to wait close to 6 months when I first inquired about it and said, no, I'm going to try dyeing it myself and have it a lot faster. So here is where I am in the whole thing. The border is all done, the raven is all done, and I'm working on the pumpkin. And sorry if you can hear the kids outside. We've had a beautiful, beautiful June so far. You'll see in my temperature design. So here is the pumpkin. So I did the darker line here, and I'm working on these 2 lines. The pumpkin is going a lot better than the raven. I could not wrap my head around the symbols and the three I think different colors, 3 or 4 different colors, 3 different colors that are in the raven. In my head, each symbol matched with a color, but those were not the colors that the symbols matched with. So I spent just as much time checking to make sure I had the right thread as I did stitching. But that's that. Next up is my temperature chart, which is Rainbow Temperature Supernova by Climbing Goat Designs. I know, I think on the last video I told you that it was in timeout because I don't know what to call, like, I call these things rays that come out. No, that's not right. Whatever it's called. Uh, and each one does about a week's worth of temperatures, the high and the low. So I had stitched one, and then when I went to start the next fray, I thought I had made a mistake in where I started the one before. So I frogged it all, and then when I got it all frogged, I looked at it and said, I don't think I had made a mistake. But these white stitches that like are here, she calls them explosion marks, the little dots, and then there's white. I don't stitch those as I'm stitching the arm or the ray, whatever I call it. I wait until I have like them done, two done, and then I stitch the white stitches around the first one to line it up. And I think that there had been one of those white stitches that I didn't notice, and so I thought I had counted wrong, but I hadn't. So I got it out, and it is stitched up to the end of May. So I have to spend some time on it this week to do the first 2 weeks of June. I was doing a week at a time, but I usually find that 2 weeks is a good amount to put into it, because you're stitching 6 stitches of one color, and then you have to end that and stitch 10 stitches of another color, and then 7 stitches of another, and it's so much color changing, because it's very rare, maybe a half a dozen times so far, that I have had like 2 lows in the same color or 2 highs in the same color. Most of the time they're different every day, which is fun, but also time consuming, and so 2 weeks seemed to work good for my stitching on it. So here we are. I also discovered that I had stitched this spot here, and one of the more recent spots, I think this one here, in the wrong color, in the dark orange here, I had stitched 902, which is a burgundy color, and it was supposed to be stitched 900, and I discovered that because when in the next 2 weeks of stitching, we hit 27 degrees one day, and that was 902, and I'm like, I've already stitched 902. We haven't had 27 degrees yet, so I had to go back and figure out what I had done wrong, and that's what it was. But our highest so far are these lovely pinks here, and another one there. But we will get into some burgundy in the next 2 weeks, which is practically unheard of here in June. We usually have lots of rain, drizzle, and fog in June, and then we call it capelin weather. And capelin are little fish about that big that roll and spawn on our beaches, and they what's the word I'm looking for? Draw in whales, and we get lots of whale sightings in June because they come to feed on the capelin. So that is stitched 2/2 on black linen. Next up is Bouquet of Sunshine, which is this piece, which I got from a friend because I had seen it on Instagram. Someone had stitched it and framed it, and I thought it was beautiful. So it's from a magazine. It's from Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. Let me see if I can give you the July, August 1992. And one of my local friends, Patty, hi Patty if you're watching, she had it and photocopied it for me. And it was stitched 2/2 on 28 count taupe linen. And here is where I am. I'm doing it, it's a little crooked. That's just because in this Q-snap, not the actual stitching. I'm stitching on this weekend for a challenge on Whip Warriors. So, when I started, I had it in 8x8, so it was about that big, so I did half, and then I actually changed my Q-snap to an 8x11 and did the other half. I haven't pulled over the satin border because I didn't know how to count the stitches for that, so I came down and started on the first sunflower and leaf here. I love it. I told my friends about what I consider an error in it, but I didn't realize it until it was too late, and I left it. 3 letters in 801, 3 letters in 435, 3 letters in 744, and it goes like that all the way down, until you get to 3 letters in 835, 3 letters in 744, 3 letters in 435, 3 letters in 744, 3 letters in 435. And if I had realized that before I had stitched these letters, I would have switched it so that these were in 801 and continued on the way it is up here. But I had all of this stitched, and I said I'm not pulling approximately 70 stitches out that are stitched perfectly fine because they made a mistake in their pattern. So it is what it is, and I'll just have to live with it. So last time I did a video, I was going to start TARDIS by the Nerdy Needle Co. And it just so happened that this fell over my scrapbooking weekend and my being sick, so I didn't get very much done with it. It's stitched 2/2 on 28 count Monaco. This is in Pattern Keeper, so I can tell you that I put in 364 stitches and I'm at 3.39%. And this is not the color I was expecting it to be at the top. It's 304. But so I just got the very top bit stitched. But it will either come up in my wheel or I'll get more done on it next year. So since I saw you last, I have had 2 starts. I have started and finished my week on I Heard the Bells by Darlene Dion Designs. My dear friend Darlene, whose designs I absolutely love, and you should definitely check out her Etsy stuff. And it is being stitched 2/2 on 28 count ivory Lugana. And here is where I got about halfway, or approximately halfway. I loved every minute of stitching on this, and my friend Carmen, who is my partner in crime in this hashtag 55 in 25 for 55. Hi Carmen. She started it too, so we could work on it together, and she actually stopped at exactly the same place I did, so I guess we're pretty evenly matched with our stitching. So I'll bring it in. So I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, O Tannenbaum, and Silent Night. That's what I got done. So I had Joy to the World, O in a Manger, and O Come All Ye Faithful. And I have to show you, I was even impressed with my French knots I did because normally I replace French knots with beads, but I said, no, I'm going to give it a try. And they actually turned out pretty good. Actually, I have to grab something from I'm starting next. So this week, I am working on Spring Dream Sampler from Studio HMP, which I originally saw from Rose Crafty Corner. Hi, Ro and Kylie. I'm not sure which one of them worked on it, but I saw one of them and thought it was really cute. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw my start picture. It now looks nothing like that because I was stitching on it, and I stitched this half of the border up here and the corner motif. And the next day I got up to start going down the side, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is not looking right. This is not going to fit on this fabric. What's going on? So I pulled up the PDF of it. I had cut the piece of fabric right, and then down at the bottom it says stitched 1/1, and I'm like, oh, I was stitching 2/2. Didn't even notice. So that piece of fabric went abandoned over there for me to pull the threads out at some point. And I searched my stash and I found a piece that was approximately the same size that was pretty much the same color, maybe a little bit darker, but not much. And restarted it 1/1. And here is where I am. So I didn't fill in all the flowers, but I brought this vine. I think it's pretty close. I think that's the width of it, except for the other corner piece, just like this. And so I done it 1/1. And this is ivory linen, even weave. Sorry, ivory even weave. And so I'm just going to fill the flowers back in. And it's going to be so cute and so tiny. I 1/1, 2/2. It doesn't really matter. It just meant that it would be twice the size, but I didn't have a big enough piece of fabric for it. So there it is. And that is all the whips that I have worked on since I saw you last. And next up is just a fun little piece, because I knew it was going to be the week of Aaron's graduation and we were going to be running around doing stuff. So I am doing Toronto Blue Jays Fan Gnome by Nini Design Crafts. And it's going to be done on Monaco, white Monaco. So for those of you who knew, I'm a Blue Jays fan. And that is my next start. Now I'm going to show you, I guess, my starts for July. And the fabric, and if there's any changes in the threads or anything like that. So I just kind of took them out and they're here in a pile, so give me a moment to put them in. Figure out what order they're supposed to be in. So first up is, oh goodness, this great project bag. It is. So first up, on the 2nd of July, I'm doing the Needleworker by Cottage Garden Samplings, and I picked to stitch it on, and I'm using all the called for threads, but I'm going to be stitching it on. Alright, just 1 second, sorry. Oh, it is. I'm going to stitch it on 32 count summer khaki. Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit. I'm going to stitch it on that. I think that'll look nice. And all the called for, which is DMC, and the 2 variegated are grapefruit and baked apple are the specialty. Those, it's just the 2. I think that will look lovely. That is July the 2nd. On July the 9th, I'm going to be stitching All Roads Lead, which is a Darlene Dion design. And I'm going to be stitching it on 28 count ivory, and it's just a call for DMC. So that will be fun. Then on July the 16th, I am going to be stitching Partridge and Pear, and I guess that kind of qualifies as the Christmas in July piece that I'm doing, even though it wasn't planned. For those of you who have been around know that I just threw 55 numbers in a little jar, and I had all of the 55 patterns written in a notebook, and my son drew out whatever number of weeks it was in the month. He drew out those numbers, and I matched them up with the pieces, and that's what I'm stitching. There is no rhyme or reason to it. So that's that one. Then let's see. I want to make sure I got the fabric correct, because this is the one that I didn't have the fabric written down. Must be this one. Nope. Oh, I know, it's in the bag. It's in the bag. That's right. On July 23rd, I'm doing Erin Elizabeth Canada tiered tray. I am stitching it on taupe. even weave. I think the red and white will look great on that, and it's pretty close to the or what's in the picture. On July 28th, in honor of my son's birthday, because I had to get in 3 extra pieces for the year to get to 55, I am doing the House Hippo, the North American House Hippo by Easy Stitch for Fun. I'm not doing this color combo. It's going to be a Brin and Nettle piece. I am stitching it on 32 count peppermint knob. For those of you who don't know, not Newfoundlanders, because I did ask my friends in PEI in Nova Scotia, or PEI in Ontario, if they knew what Purity Factory products were, and they did not. So Purity Factory is a company here that produces cookies and candies and syrup and that type of stuff. Nothing that's healthy. And one of the candies that they produce is called peppermint knobs, which you can guess tastes like peppermint. And they are pretty close to that color. And then I am stitching it with their thread, which is called Old Harry. And I can't give you a reason why it's called Old Harry, but it's a mottled gray. So that is going to be my North American House Hippo. And if you're curious about what the North American House Hippo is, YouTube will have a video. And I know if you're Canadian, you know. So that is that one. And then finally, on July 30th, I am doing from Cross Stitch and Needlework March 2014, a Snail's Garden by Michelle Lutzen, if I pronounced that right. And it is, she is Stitchy Kitty. And it's this one, which I just thought was a cute, whimsical, summery design. And I'm stitching that on a piece of fabric from my stash, which does not have a color or a name, but it is a 28 count even weave. But it's like a sky, so it's a lighter color than the model is on, but I thought it would look nice on it. So those are my July starts. They're all now on my floor that I'll have to clean up when I'm done videotaping. And just a couple of things from purchases, I guess, for sneak previews for some October starts. I have purchased River Rocks, 12 grain and 4-leaf clover, and a piece of dirty linen from Embroidery Marketplace in Edmonton. Yeah, Edmonton. They are my go-to shop right now. She is great. And then I went to the thrift store because I took my mom out for lunch yesterday for her birthday today, because we didn't know what the restaurants were going to be like for Father's Day. So I said, well, let's go out on Saturday. So she hemmed and hawed. I said, you pick. I'm going to buy you lunch. Hemmed and hawed, hemmed and hawed. And she said, I want to go to this cafe down the street. It's just like a 2-minute drive down from her house, condo. And so we went down. They weren't open. It was like 12 o'clock, just after 12 o'clock. So I looked up on my phone. They're not open on Saturday and Sunday. A cafe that's not open on Saturday and Sunday. So she said, oh, well, she said, there's a Chinese place, like that's in one little strip mall, and then there's another one with a little gap between them. She said, there's a Chinese place there. Let's go there. We went in, and there's a thrift store. You go in at the entrance, and the restaurant is here, and there's a thrift store. So we went in. The restaurant didn't open until 4 o'clock. So I said, well, I'm going into the thrift store. So I spent $4 at the thrift store, and then we went to Pizza Delight, which is like a pizza pasta kind of place. Anyway, so I bought this frame for $2. I thought it would be really nice to have put a cross stitch in it. It's just, you know, but I thought that was really cute for a cross stitch finish. And then I was walking along, and this was on the wall, and this was also $2, and I left the price on it. But when I put it back in the frame, because I took it out yesterday to show the girls at the chat, I put it in sideways, but it doesn't matter. One of the ladies at the chat yesterday told me it was a Laura J. Perrin. The name was kind of familiar, but I don't. And here it is. It was $2. As much. Oh, my lamp is, but that's pretty good. Not that much glare. Like the specialty stitches, like. And I realized when I was talking to them yesterday, it's Lily of the Valley, which is the flower for May, which is my birthday month. So like, it has to come. It has to be fixed. It's not in straight. It's not. There's no back on it. And it's laced, but it's it's not very tight. But it's also, I don't know if you can see on the video, but it if you look at the squares, it's not. It goes down, I think. Anyway, it's not in there straight, so I have to. But it's just like these things, just like there's just two of these, and it just pops right out. So, and I would like to put something on, even if it's just piece of cardboard on the back. But for $2, I couldn't leave it there. And there you go, everyone. I guess that's everything, other than to say I'm hoping to be back sometime next weekend to do a mid-year and show you where I've gotten with all my starts for this year. Some of them have been fully finished. Some of them have been finished and not fully finished. Some of them haven't had a whole lot of work at all. But I'm going to share with you guys where I've gotten to, because end of June, midway through the year. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will see you all then. And I'll be back in 2 weeks for my regular video. So have a great day.